Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «ГолубьМира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about system theory and let's start with the definition.
There's very funny things. When we look to the world, we do not notice that everything is connected. And system theory, this is about how different part of world could be connected. For example, we have a tide, but this depends from the moon. We have a light, this depends from the sun. And there is some system which is slower and smaller. There is a system which is faster and bigger. For example, we have a finger. Finger is part of the hand from one side. From another side, there is also three parts of the finger. So there is finger as a system which contains from three different parts. But there is also a hand which is system which is above or mega system or meta system which contains from several fingers. For example, you have life. In your life, you have to breathe, to think, to run, to brush teeth, to wash hands, and so on. And everything is connected. If you will spend too many water, you will pay for it. But to earn money, to pay for the bill, you should work harder. So if you spend so many time while running, maybe you will get lean and you need to feed your body with extra calories. So if you do something, you consume something to gain something. And this is about theory of systems.
It seems that this theory might be having so many applications, like starting from the decision-making theory in the management, or maybe any sort of the science, or maybe anything like in personal or like a business life. So what is the main application of the theory itself, and like where it appears the most?
For example, you have a very hard assignment from your boss, and he or she asking you to develop some kind of model. And if you will go and run this model as a system, you will find a lot of deviation, you will find a lot of connections, and you will find a lot of leverage you could use to make the system or stable, or maybe development, or maybe downgrading, and so on. For example, you want to attract customers, and you should think about them from one side, like a group, or cohorts or auditories or populations, but from another, you should think about separate people. Some of them are grown up, some are childs, some women's, some men's, some wants to buy healthy food, some in a hurry, and you should understand how you could impact while communicating with them. To someone, you will say, this is dynamic car. To another, you'll say, this is safe car. To another, you will say, this is magnificent car. And everyone will hear just what he wants to hear. So this system, which contains a lot of different minds, and if you will use just one slogan or one motto, maybe you will gain attention of 2 to 5% of people. But if you will divide them for small group, and you will use like several channels, several way of communications, and a lot of different appeals or some ideas, maybe you will got them all.
And I remember the skill of the consultancy actually were saying that when you speak to your customer or potential customer, like try to think and observe, like, and ask yourself why he did that, why, like she said that, why, like all of the things on the table organized in such a way. So I do believe it's might be like a part of the system theory and maybe part of the system thinking, trying to see, like what is the background of the things, what is the context, but like if we're trying to find like what is the like the objects that surrounding us and whether they belong or not belong or about to belong to certain part of the system, like what kind of mindset we should have to be able to wrap our head around all of the what is going on to make the right picture of the world.
There is several ways how to discover a system. First, for example, you have a chicken which live in somewhere on your farm, and you will see how they were born in eggs. Then they will break these eggs. They will run and eat some seeds, then they will be healthy enough to kill them to eat. Some will be carrying eggs. By the way, do you know that the chicken is most consumed animal on the planet? Usually, each person on the planet eat at least 10 chickens per year. You know, it's a very huge amount. So another way, you have your life, and you should sometimes buy clothes, maybe clean shoes. Sometimes you want to measure your blood pressure and so on. And if you will understand that everything is connected, you will be trying to stabilize yourself. For example, you will read just good books. You will run in beautiful places. You will eat just healthy food and so on. And if you will treat yourself as something which is precisely valuable, you will be living long, you will be smiling, you will help to a huge amount of people, and they will like you, and you will be like in Oasis. Is it okay to say Oasis? Or there is another?
Yes.
Oasis. So, and your system will be created because you decide to change your surroundings.
It's actually an interesting example about the chicken, because like this happened with me one time when I was flying on the airplane, and apparently I started to look into the city and think of all of the consumption that happens, and the chicken was one of them. I was actually thinking like how many chickens should die per day, so that like all of those people who loves it actually can feed themselves. And obviously, when we look into some of the aspect or part of the systems, we might be finding out that there are known and unknown parts. So how do we go about this one? Like when we have a hypothesis, like how certain thing should work, should we treat it as as a black box, or should we create an abstract model? Because sometimes those parts will be necessary or needed in order to make certain decisions.
There are several ways, unconscious and conscious. When you start to live, you ask your parents and you trying to touch everything by your hand, and then you read books, and then you ask some lectures, questions, and you will get answers, and you will know how this world work. But do you know exactly how, for example, climate control is working, or maybe TV, or maybe fridge, or maybe micro oven? Not too many people know how to deal with it. Do you know how people, for example, colored materials to create shorts or t-shirts? Do you know how people, for example, I don't know how to say, вязать носок, to create a sock? Knitting a socks. Do you know how many, for example, microchips are installed in this small mouse, and what will be in several days on the sky with stars and asteroids and some other space bodies? So no one knows, but you could create some special pockets in your mind to think, okay, I don't know which color has electricity, and I don't know where's going wind when it doesn't blow. I don't know what will happen in all desert will be consuming territory of Africa. What will be if all ice on the polar caps would be melted? And if you think about this, you will find some answers. It was a time I was on Maldives, and suddenly I was asked by one resort, is it possible to conduct a lecture? And I was wondering, why should I make a lecture? But it's I don't know who created this initiative, but I was asked to read a lecture for fishermen, because they were catching so many fishes around the islands that ocean became almost empty. There is no whales, no basking sharks, no rays, no tuna, because everything was already catched. It was during this COVID-19. And when I was started to talk with people, they were very angry. Why are you blue body man, white body man, you're trying to teach us something? And I was saying, come on guys, if you will catch too many fish, you will have nothing for next generation. And they were saying, come on, but we are hungry, we want to eat. And we were having a very hard decision. And I explained, I have been in America, and there is a lot of also fishermen. And if they catch, for example, female lobsters, that they will throw it away because it has a caviar and new babies could become, and they will grow. But if you will daily catch tuna, you will be already emptied. For example, there is another island which is close to Maldives. It's called Sri Lanka. I have been for several times. I have been even living with a guy from Sri Lanka in the same room, and there were a lot of blue yellow fin tuna, which cost in Japan could be like $700,000, and they have some period where they don't allow to catch these fishes because they make, I don't know how, nesting. Is it okay to say for fishes nesting?
Nesting might be a good word.
Yes. And they are prohibited, and in such case, they have ability to catch early, like 10,000 species.
And obviously, one of the things that you mentioned that the consequences of your decision making based on the system that you built using the theory might actually will be catastrophic. But what about the other case? Let's say I remember there was a saying that sometimes the politicians they might be having a different picture of the world. I do believe it's also might be because they don't know or maybe like misinterpret certain facts and they just like embed them into their system and operating based on them. And probably it's not only might be applied in this area. So how to deal with these cases when you trying to make decision or you want to see the decision that someone else is making actually might be not correct?
You know, it's very hard to be a politician. I have been for several delegations in some countries, and it happens that I was not handshaked because the person against me, he was saying, "Are you from such a country? Are you have such a nationality?" For example, when I was in Cyprus, I was from Turkish side, and the Greeks politicians they do not want to handshake with me because I was speaking on behalf of Turkish government, and it was very strange. So we should speak on the table. We could smile, but there is no body touching. The same it was in Jordan. I was from Egypt side. There was about building some huge infrastructure, and people from Jordan they do not like to sit close, and they were asking to have a translator, but I could speak Arabic language, and you know it was like double translation. Yes, my Arabic the same as English, and maybe it sounds bad, but for these negotiations it was quite enough, and we were spending so much time because two entrepreneurs were trying to translate me what I already got. Sometimes it's very strange. So, for example, if you make in sport and your country is in some kind of conflict with other, maybe you will be treated from tribunes with some dirty words and some maybe flags or maybe songs, and it will make bad your mood. But anyway, you should stay, and you should understand that there is another systems which like you, which expect from you results.
And my last question will be how knowing about systems theory could help to make this world a better place.
If you will think that my world divided for your friends and for enemies, this is a very simplified picture of our universe. Every one of us halfly man and halfly woman. For example, in internet, if you will look to your ad profile, you will find that, for example, Maxim Golubь is 73% as a man, but 27% of a woman. Why? Because maybe you will buy for your lovely girl some presents. Maybe it was duhi. How to say duhi?
Perfume.
Maybe it was perfume, maybe it was lipstick, maybe it was some, I don't know, dress. But anyway, Net will understand that you are not completely a man. And the same would be with your girlfriend. Maybe she will buy you, I don't know, shaven form or maybe man t-shirt. So she will become like for 10% like a man. The same with your colleagues. Some of them will support you in several ways, but sometimes they will fight against you. So there is nothing black and nothing white, and this is about system. So your system, for example, if I will go and say, come on, Maxim, let's go drink a beer, and you don't like beer, you will say, come on, I will not do this. But you will say me, maybe you'll have a squeezed juice, and I will say, I don't drink this. And if you will think at this point that we are already like enemies, they will become enemies. But if you understand, okay, let's exclude from our communications vodka and squeezed juice, so we could be happy and we could work together.
Помните, что все совсем связано, даже если так не кажется на первый взгляд. А мы рассмотрели навык теории систем и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!